Hi, Get UNSTUCK Nation. Today we have a very sweet guest to share something with you that the part that I personally don't like, but I know that you're gonna love it towards the end. So please welcome Liz Wilcox with me today, and she's an email marketer. Hi, Liz.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here and to help you get unstuck. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so before we get unstuck in the email marketing part, which is gonna be a very joyful conversation that I didn't have for a very long time. How you become an email marketer or even start your entrepreneur journey, Liz?
Yeah, so I find that, if you listen to podcasts and you hear other email marketers, a lot of them started off as email service providers. They were doing sort of copywriting in the background for other people's businesses. I actually did it kind of the opposite way. I started off as an RV blogger. So an RV in other parts of the world, it might be called a caravan. And so I knew I wanted to travel the country in an RV, but I had no means to do that. I was married at the time. My husband was in the military. And so I just kind of started Googling ways to make money from home. I had a master's degree in leadership, but I also had a baby. So it was like, I couldn't exactly go back to work, but I wanted to make this work. I wanted to make my dream come true. So of course, you Google how to make money from home, a bunch of stuff pops up about blogging. And I saw some other kind of RV travel bloggers, and I looked at them and they were so young and beautiful. And if you look on your phone right now, hashtag RV life on Instagram, you'll see what I mean. And I was like, oh yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to hashtag RV life it all over these internet streets. And that's how I'm going to make a living. And that's what I'm going to do. So of course I got the WordPress site. I started building the site out, and then I realized just how hard it was, right? They always make it seem so easy, on the webinars and in the blog posts, but I realized, wow, this is a lot of work. But what I kept hearing across the board, no matter, what webinar I signed up for, what blog post, what newsletter I was reading, was all the big, quote unquote gurus were saying, I wish I would have taken my email list more seriously. I wish I would have grown my email list from the beginning. Most of my money comes from email marketing. Even if I'm spending on Facebook ads, it all comes from email, or a lot of it comes from email. And mama didn't raise no fool. I'm living in the RV at this point. I only have time, in between naps and when everybody's sleeping after dinner, to build the site. So I started building my email list heavy. And I started, they say email once a week. I'm emailing once a week. They say build your own product. In the first 6 months, I had built my own product. They say survey your customers or your potential customers. I'm sending out emails asking questions. And over the years, after 3 years, I had built out something like a dozen digital products. I had a virtual summit. I had a course. I had a book. You name it, I gave it a go. I even had an RV mastermind. Okay. Like I just was trying anything that anybody, gave me the idea for. And it worked. My conversion rates were crazy. In fact, when I built my first online course, it was on RV maintenance. I've never changed a bike tire before in my life. I actually had someone help me create the content. But I had 141 people on that wait list, that had clicked, yes, I'd be interested in an RV maintenance course. And I had a traditional 5-day, Monday through Friday, open cart close. About 100 days later, it took me about 100 days to build out the course. And I had made 141 sales. So absolutely crazy. And my goal was 300. So I'm like, oh no, I didn't make it. But then I realized, oh, wow, every single person that said they were interested actually bought. Like that's truly unheard of. So I went to a conference, I'm telling my story, and I didn't realize this conference had a lot of email marketers and copywriters and service providers. And I didn't even know what any of that really was. And I'm telling my story and they're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing in the RV space? You need to be teaching people how you did that. And I had been kind of wanting to move away from the RV space for a while anyway. like I think I mentioned, I have a master's degree in leadership. I don't want to talk about RV maintenance all day. And so I actually ended up selling that blog about a year after my course launch, March of 2020, and went all in teaching people my framework, how I actually did that, how someone that was very, you know, business to consumer, right? No one's cheaper than someone who lives in a box on wheels and doesn't pay for electricity. Like, how did I get them to actually, you know, purchase a digital course when they had no idea what a digital course was? And so for the last couple of years at the time of this recording, that's what I've been doing.
Wow. I mean, wow, that's awesome. But how do you get to, like, how these frameworks come together?
Sure. So that's another fun story. I know that, so I was an RV blogger. I didn't travel for the first year of having my RV site. I was just like, hey, this is going to be a business. You know, join up. Let's get Liz Wilcox and the family out on the road. If you can't tell by now, I'm a little shameless. If I've got a goal, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to, you know, do all that I can to make sure it happens. And I realized that the more that I wrote, and the more that I got into RVing, you know, the less time I had, because we were actually, you know, after a year, we got on the road. My kid was starting to get a little older, you know, we got to go outside, you know, and I'm traveling. I want to see these things that are out there. You know, what's the point in traveling if I'm just in my RV all day? And so I came up with this framework for my newsletters where I would just give, you know, a lot of email marketers will tell you, tell stories connect, blah, 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 which that's true. I just told you probably like a 3 to 5 minute story about how I got into email marketing. Stories do connect. But at the same time, you know, when we sit down to tell a story, it seems overwhelming. We've got our, you know, high school English teacher in the back of our head. Hey, you know, you've got to have a first paragraph, a middle, an ending. You got to have, you know, an antagonist and a protagonist, and you have all these things in your head. And you got to have the peak of the story and start with the hook, all these confusing things. Most of us did not start a writing business, and now we're having to write all the time. And it's just really overwhelming. So I said, okay, well, sure, I can, there's got to be another way. So I started giving out personal updates. Of course, I was a travel blogger, so it came very naturally to me to, hey, you know, we're on the Mississippi River today. We did X, Y, and Z. Anyway, here's my blog post. I really want you to read my blog post, right? And so when I transferred over, I sold that and I transferred over to the email marketing, I realized personal updates can work for anyone, whether you're e-commerce, you're SaaS, you know, you're another blogger, you're a service provider. You can just make those quick personal updates. Just like I don't have my phone on. Let me pick up my mouse. You know, you like I'm calling you. You know, like, hey Christy, hey JC, what's up? And they say, oh, nothing. I just put the kid on the bus, but you know, let's talk about last night, like on Survivor, whatever show. And then you get into the actual conversation. That personal update, just 2 to 3 sentences. Let me put my mouse phone down. That 2 to 3 sentences of, you know, just making that quick human connection. Like if you have an audience full of moms, you know, saying that I just put my kid on the bus, oh, she's a mom too, without giving your birth story, right? Or if you've got a bunch of people that are doctors in your audience saying, you know, oh, I just got out of the hospital, or, you know, like, don't you hate it when you run out of latex gloves, or, you know, something like that, just something in the next, you know, that's happened to you in the last 7 days, or, you know, the last month since you emailed them, 2 to 3 sentences. And then you can segue into the content, right? Whether you've got a new podcast episode like Mutita, or you've got a blog post, or you have a new offer for people and you want them to check out the sales page, just giving that quick 2 to 3 sentences. And when I say segue, you can literally put the caps lock on your keyboard, and write the word anyway, ... What I really want to talk to you about is my new offer or the new update on our software. My new blog post, pocket, whatever the heck, my new TikTok channel, whatever you're promoting, whatever you actually want to talk about. That's the newsletter framework. I call it 20-minute newsletters. So if you're taking more than 20 minutes, you're really doing it wrong.
Ooh, okay. You're talking to someone who I'm not gonna write anything anymore. Writing for me is too hard. I mean, one of the ways that it's not my native language, even though in Thai, I'm already stuckable. So I just not really like to write things and then update everyone about that. But yeah, that's kind of works though. It reminds me that every time that I'm on the phone, that's actually what happened. The reason why you call me is actually not the first thing.
Right. You're not, of course you tell stories. Humans are natural storytellers, right? But for the most part, yeah, just think of it like an actual conversation. You sit down for lunch or you get on your mouse phone, right? And, you just, hey, I just finished taking the dogs out. I just wanted to let you know, I've got a doctor's appointment today. I won't be home, right? Like that, and so it's the same with your newsletter. Hey, I just finished taking the dogs out. I've got a bunch of podcast interviews today, but I just wanted to let you know, my sale is still happening until Friday. Make sure you check out the page. Something, I just wrote that newsletter. That took 10 seconds? Your newsletter can be 10 sentences. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing, especially in this post-COVID world we're living in. Everybody just spent at the time of this recording, almost 2 years just sitting on their phone, sitting on their computer. And think about it, when you're scrolling on your phone, you'll probably also have the TV on. Maybe you have a spouse or a kid that's also, hey, check this out, look at my Instagram while you're looking at your Instagram, while the kids' shows are on in the background. You've got 3 screens on you at once. Our brains are really old computers. They're not meant to process that much information at once, right? It can be really overwhelming. So with the newsletter, if you can just get in, get out quickly, make that personal connection, give something of value quickly, chances are the next time you email, someone's going to remember, oh yeah, Mutita, she gives it to me real quick. I have time to open that, and they're going to open that email.
Yeah, you mentioned about the open rates, and your open rate is pretty high. And I believe that many people who is listening at here, like my audience right here, they do also having that problem. There are mainly 2 school of thoughts, I guess. One of the thing is that keep your email list tight, only for those who have a high opening rate remains. On the other hand, though, they may say you have to build the email list because it's the resource that will be your asset along the way. What do you think?
Yeah, it depends on your main goal. So as far as getting your numbers big, I think that's more of a vanity matrix, right? I've got 1 million followers on Instagram, but if you can't sell $1 to them, or make $1 from them, what's the point? You're just, you've got a bunch of freebie suckers, right? But if you're some kind of blogger or something that, sponsors give you money for the amount, that they care about those vanity metrics, then sure, build the list as big as you can. But why not both? Why not have a big list that opens? And so as far as getting your open rates, first, I want to say that Apple does have an iOS update that there's a lot of freak out about open rates. And is this really a reliable metric anymore? And I will say at the time of this recording, we're not exactly sure. We need a lot more data in order to see it. As far as my email list, my open rate actually has increased since the update. I'm at an almost 60% open rate total for about almost 2,000 subscribers with a 2-year-old email list. So that's pretty incredible. And so what the way that I look at open rates is it's more about the health of your list, and open rates is one indicator. If people are opening your emails, it's healthy, right? If they're clicking on them, if they're replying, if they're doing the thing that you want them to do, the call to action, that's more of, think of it, instead of open rates, think about it being healthy. And so with your health, it's also, you can think of it, another word would be kind of your reputation. So I call it the internet gods, right? There are internet gods, there are spiders crawling all the way from Google to YouTube to your site to your emails, all over the place. It's a very, very technical, thing happening behind the scenes. But if you've got a good reputation with those internet gods, with those spiders, they are going to make sure that your emails are seen. So let me backtrack and say every email has 3 jobs. First, your email has to be seen. Second, your email needs to be opened. And third, your email has to give a call to action, like somebody takes action on your CTA. And so in order to get it seen, you do have to be aware of that reputation, of those open and click rates. And because otherwise, if you've got, this huge list with, 5 to 10, even 20% of people opening, every time you get a new lead, right? We are always looking for new leads. Likely it's going to go into spam, and that new warm lead isn't checking their spam every day, right? Unless they're obsessed with email like me. I check my spam like crazy, but that's literally my job. I do this, 40 hours a week. Chances are most people are barely checking their email unless, you are rocking it with email, let alone their spam folder. And so that's why we need to pay attention to, yes, still open rates. I still believe that. Click rates, getting people to reply, things of that nature. And so once you can get your emails seen, then get them opened, right? Get them, oh, Mutita sent something to me. Awesome. I know I can't wait for her next podcast. Maybe she sends it out Wednesday afternoons. Yes, it's Wednesday. I'm opening that up. And then the call to action. Yes, I'm clicking on the podcast. I'm clicking to see the new software update. I'm clicking to check out the new offer. I'm clicking to see this funny TikTok they sent me, whatever the case is, right? We can go so many directions with the call to action.
This episode is sponsored by Mutita Clothing, like what I'm wearing right here. So if you are a petty sized lady who are looking for high quality apparels as well as a neat cutting and premium pattern, check it out at mutitaclothing.com so that you can be simply elegant by no time. Let's get back to the episode.
And sometimes the call to action can just be they read the whole dang thing. They got to the signature, right? Like sometimes we just want them to read. We want them to be engaged in that way. Now, in order to get them to see the emails, get that first job done, you want to make sure you are cold scrubbing your list. So that means getting all those old people off of your list. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard for those leads. Maybe you even paid for them. But if they're not opening your emails, they're dragging the list down. They're making those internet gods say, oh, 80% of people don't care about Liz's emails, so I'm just going to send them to the spam folder. Now, if you've got a crazy open rate, right, if you've got an open rate like, 30 to 50% are opening Liz's emails. Oh, Liz must be important to people. We're going to put that over in the inbox. So make sure you're regularly, deleting those old subscribers, and you can even export them. You don't have to, if you run Facebook ads, Google ads, things like that, you don't want to delete them completely. You can export them in order to use them on other platforms, but you've got to get them off your list, because every time you send them an email and they don't open, that just signals to the internet gods that you're unimportant and your email should go into spam. They shouldn't be seen. They should be buried. And then just making sure you have a really solid welcome sequence. Whenever someone gets onto your email list, You've got to welcome them in a way, I call it the email staircase: follower, friend, customer. Welcome them in a way that, you're friendly with them. I don't mean like your best friend, you're calling them on your mouse phone and, you're spilling all the dirt about, gossip, from your neighborhood church or the pool that you heard at the pool, whatever. But just someone that, like Mutita and I, we have this mutual interest with online business strategy. We're sharing tips together, that kind of friendship. And then once you have that friendship, you know them, they know you, it's much easier to turn them into a customer because you know their language, you know what they're opening, you know what they're clicking on, and you know what they're not clicking on, right? So that's very easy to start, really segmenting offers. I lost my train of thought. I hope you don't edit it out because I'm imperfect. Oh yeah, follower, friend, customer. And so you've got to have that thank you. You've got to have that welcome sequence that, gets them saying, these are my offers. These are the expectations of the newsletter. I'm going to offer you free and paid services, resources, products, whatever words you want to use. I'm going to email you once a week on Tuesdays, bi-monthly, on the 1st and the 15th, whatever it is, whenever you email. And then you follow through on that, and that, oh, Liz she said she was going to email on Tuesday. Holy crap, here's an email on Tuesday. She means what she says. It's just this, it's not like they're literally thinking that, but in the back of their head, that's signaling. And so with that welcome sequence, you've really got to set that up.
Yeah. I'm just thinking along with you that I actually unexpected to see like a particular email from like a company that I subscribe, and it's get into my inbox every Monday, first thing of every week. And I see that every week, like very consistent. So I know what you mean now. Okay. Seems like that we have to educate and train the subscribers instead of let them tell us what they want, right?
Yes, 100%. You need to make sure people are, they know what to expect, and that you're, sort of guiding them into what you want them to do. And that might seem like weird, like, oh, I don't want to manipulate anyone or whatever. Here's the thing, they can unsubscribe at any time. If you say something or you try to guide them in a way, right, that they're like, oh no, I don't like that. Like, you sign up for my list. I keep talking about personal updates. Actually, Liz, I love storytelling. Like you're feel free to unsubscribe. If you're just listening to the podcast, you can't see behind me, but I've got NSYNC posters. I'm wearing a Will Smith sweater. I love 90s pop culture. If you're like, I really love the Backstreet Boys and I'm so sick of you talking about Justin Timberlake, unsubscribe. People can unsubscribe. So, but you want to lead them in a way that says, this is who I am. This is what I have to offer. And this is why you should, quote unquote, pick me for whatever service you're providing, right? And so with those welcome emails, that first email, you just want, however they got on your list, you want to thank them for that. If you are giving away some sort of, freebie download, whatever, you want to just deliver it and get out of there, right? They're not your friend yet. They don't care who you are. You can put in one little sentence, for me, it would be, my name's Liz Wilcox. The only thing that I love more than NSYNC is talking emails, like gotta go bye, right? And so, right. Yeah, right. And so then the second email, you want to give some of your best content. So, if you are a software company, maybe you send a video that shows some of your best features. If you're just a regular blogger, maybe you send your best performing post. If you're a podcaster, maybe you just send even a 5-minute clip of, something really funny that happened in a podcast, just some of your best content. You're putting your best foot forward, and that's training them to say, oh, Liz for me, I send a video because I want people to watch videos. I want them to listen to my podcast. I want them to sign up for my master classes. And so that signals to them, oh, Liz does a lot of video. So when I sell them later on video, they've already seen me in that second day. The third one is when you give those newsletter expectations, like I was talking about, kind of tell them like, this is who I am. This is who I think you are, right? For me, entrepreneurs, we crave freedom. We don't want to work the 9 to 5. And here's what you can expect: Tuesday afternoon emails, whatever in my Facebook group, funny stories on Instagram, whatever it is that you want to provide. Also free and paid resources on how to make newsletters simple, whatever your solution is, tell them that right from the beginning. Like the biggest problem I see a lot of people doing when they start their email list or when they welcome people is they don't make it very clear what their offers are or that they even have offers, especially if you're brand new and you're like, well, I'm not selling anything yet. Just tell them that it's coming because eventually you will sell something. And then the last one is kind of your big why you got into this, why you started a software company, what problems you saw in the industry and how you're looking to fix it. Why you started an RV travel blog when you didn't even have your RV yet, why you sold your blog to get into, email marketing, whatever your story is, because by the fourth time, if they're still opening, they are interested, they do like you, your company, and they want to learn more. So that's when you can start to really open up the conversation.
But then, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of confused between once they subscribe, okay, they get the welcome sequence, but then when the really weekly newsletters happen.
Yeah, so with those welcome, I shared with you kind of 4 sequential emails. Personally, I send them, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't wait around. Some people, I highly recommend, this is where you put on your thinking cap and you think about your business, your personality, and your folks and what is right for them. And you might need to experiment. But after that, pick a time when you're going to send those newsletters. And that's when they start to get them, right? And so if you let's say you send your newsletter out on Tuesdays, if somebody subscribed on Monday, they're not going to get that newsletter until you're done with that sequence. And if you guys need help with that, if you're listening and you're like, that still seems a little confusing, just email me. I'm sure we can put my email address in the show notes. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. Because if you're not familiar with email service providers, it can be a little confusing, but I want to make sure you get it right.
Yeah, so get to that. Which one would you recommend as the email service? People are going to be crazy. Like let me think. My clients change pretty often. Like I find like some clients like to change the software. On the other hand, though, they may not use it enough. So ours, we changed from Active Campaign to right now HubSpot. So what is your opinion on that?
Sure. So just full disclosure, I've only ever personally used ConvertKit. And that's kind of like a for creatives by creatives platform. It's very simple. I recommend it for anyone that is just getting started and they listen to this podcast. Okay, yes, email marketing, that seems doable. I'm going to give it a go. I recommend that. They have a freemium offer now, so you can get like your first 1,000 or something for free. Don't quote me on that number. I've always paid for it. So I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember, but it's very simple. The dashboard is easy to understand. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, so you just kind of get in and get out. So I like that aspect of ConvertKit. If you're looking for something that is definitely free, MailChimp also has had a ton of updates in the last couple of years. That's a good option. Mutita recommended or mentioned Active Campaign. Now, Active Campaign is similar to ConvertKit, but it has a lot more of those bells and whistles. You're able to really build it out. So as you grow to multiple six figures and beyond, Active Campaign should be able to grow with you as well. I will say ConvertKit is kind of catching up, but Active Campaign is definitely there already. As far as Flowdesk, HubSpot, did you say HubSpot? There's a bunch out there. Klaviyo or something, I can't even pronounce that one. It's a lot for e-commerce. That one's pretty good too. But honestly, I would recommend, just picking one that, you go to the sales page. Yes, okay, this makes sense to me. If the sales page makes sense to you or their homepage makes sense to you, chances are you're going to be able to use it. And also, as email marketing and business goes more online, they have better customer service. So you're going to be able to, ask customer service or just hit up YouTube whenever you get confused. And it doesn't really matter as long as you get started.
I agree. You can change that later anytime, but don't change too often.
I was just thinking of a Backstreet Boys song. Don't go breaking my heart. I think that's a Backstreet Boys. Like, do not change every 6 months. Please stick with something enough for you to build your reputation, right? That way, because when you switch, you have to start your reputation basically from scratch again, because you have a new service provider. There's new internet gods. It's a whole thing, right? But if you have already built up that reputation with your folks, they're going to start opening those emails quickly with the new service provider, and you'll be able to build up that reputation much more quickly. But I would recommend, stick with it for a few years, unless it really is like, oh my gosh, I truly picked the wrong one, or you're ready to go. I wouldn't change until you're just absolutely, utterly confused, something bad happens, or you're truly ready to go to the next level, and you've heard from that service provider themselves that they cannot do what you need them to do.
100%. So I believe that you help basically business owner or anyone want to have an email subscriber doing this job easier. How do you help them?
Yeah, so I am on a freaking mission to make sure everyone knows email marketing is for them. And I know I'm breaking the number one rule of marketing. Like, you gotta niche down, and I'm like closing in on my screen right now. You gotta niche down, you gotta talk to one person. But for me, I've niched down to email marketing. I talk about email marketing only. Ask me about social media, I'll tell you I don't know a dang thing. But for me, I love helping people understand email marketing because I grew up very poor. I still to this day financially support my mother. I'm pretty sure I made more money this month than my mother has made like in an entire year ever in her whole life. And so I mentioned that because when I realized I could make money online and I could just literally send out an email and make cash, even when it was just $1, I felt like I had unlocked, this golden era of life. Like I was like, these rich people have been lying. I can do this too, like this isn't just for the, the haves and the have-nots. I can be a have too. And so I'm on a mission to make sure, you can be a have too, and you can do it with email marketing. So if you're wondering more about that welcome sequence, I literally have one written for you. You can just go to lizwilcox.com and get that welcome sequence. It's completely written for you. If you go to lizwilcox.com, there's a shiny pink button in the top right-hand corner. It says free swipes. They're called swipe files. And basically those are things I've already written that you can take and make your own. Of course, I might mention a boy band or two. You're going to have to take that out and mention, whatever it is your thing is. And then if you want to really take it further and you say, okay, yes, I'm ready to commit to email marketing, I actually have a membership. It's $9 a month. Like, yes, it's really that cheap. I'm not going to try to upsell you in 3 months to make it, more expensive. It's really, and I say it's cheap because again, I started out very poor. I didn't have any money to invest. I didn't have money to, get an OBM or some kind of business coach. I really had to do it, late night red eyes on YouTube, trying to dig deeper. And I don't want anyone that comes into my universe to feel like, they have to, sacrifice like a good dinner in order to know more about emails, right? And so I try to make it as affordable and accessible as possible for when you're just, yes, I know email marketing, I'm just getting started, or you've done it and it's just not working for you, to come in and get exactly what you need. So I actually write that weekly newsletter every single week. It's delivered straight to your inbox. It comes with a template, an outline, and 2 swipes. So you can actually see what the template looks like in real action. And I read it from 2 different perspectives. Maybe last night I wrote it from like the perspective of the service provider. And then the next one was like the perspective of someone who had an Etsy shop. So you can see, no matter what your business is, how it actually works. And that's $9 a month. I plan on that being the Netflix of email marketing. I can't wait for you to join. We have a lot of fun. But those are the 2 ways that people mainly work with me.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So everyone, the link will be in the description below and as well as in the show notes. So yeah, check it out. Yeah, Liz, and where else they can follow your work and apart from your website?
Yeah, sure. Of course, I want you to get on that email list, get those swipes. You also get 3 newsletter examples and 52 subject lines that have garnered me a 40% open rate or higher if you go to lizwilcox.com, or you can hang out with me on Instagram. I do a lot of stories about email marketing tips, 90s boy bands, and of course, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith. So if you're into that, come hang out. Oh, and of course, I live on the beach. So if you like beach pics over your email tips, that's what I'm dishing out on Instagram at the Liz Wilcox, THE Liz Wilcox.
That sounds amazing to me. So everyone, don't forget to follow Liz after this. This is something that you couldn't deny that is very interested, and everyone needs to have a great email marketing. So thank you, Liz, for joining Get Unstuck Radio today.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what you guys do with email marketing.
Hey, thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe here or here. And this is the previous episode. Check it out. See you next time.